Hello everyone, this is Gurucharan Das Adipu, lecturer in management from Government Degree College, Siddipet Autonomous. Okay, today we are going to discuss about group decision making and types of teams under organizational behavior. First, we will see what is the meaning of decision making and types of teams. Group decision making and types of teams. Decision making is an important job of a manager. Every day he has to decide about doing or not doing a particular thing, what to do, what not to do. A decision is the selection from among alternatives, existing alternatives. You are choosing the best from the different alternatives. It is a solution selected from different alternatives after examining the alternatives. Chosen because your forces that the course of action you select will be better than the others. To further your goals and will be accompanied by the fewest possible objectionable consequences. That's why we choose best one from the available alternatives. And it is the selection of one course of action from two or more alternative courses of action. A decision is an act of choice wherein an executive forms a conclusion about what must be done in a given situation. A decision represents a course of behavior chosen from a number of possible alternatives. This is the definition given by McFarland. A decision is an act of choice wherein executives form a conclusion about what must be done in a given situation. That means you want to respond properly to a given situation. That's why you are making a decision. This is the definition given by McFarland. And thus, the way an executive acts or decides the action, course of action from among various alternatives is an act of decision making. Another definition given by George Terry. Decision making is the selection based on some criteria from two or more possible alternatives. How could you choose the best one from the existing alternatives? You follow some criteria that enable you to choose the best alternative. This is the definition given by George Terry. Though there are many alternatives available to a manager, but he has to choose the best out of them. How can you do that? Right? How can you do that? How can we choose the best alternative among the existing one? There is, if you observe this, the basis will be, you will assess. Decision making is based on rational thinking. One, we say the same under the characteristics. Based on the decision making is based on a few features, characteristics. One is decision making is based on rational thinking. The manager tries to foresee various possible effects of decision before deciding a particular one. If you choose one alternative, what would be the consequences you will anticipate? If you choose another alternative, what are the consequences you are going to face in a different situation? That make him to choose appropriate. And another characteristic is it is a process of selecting the best from among alternatives available. It is nothing but a process selecting the best from among alternatives available. It involves the evaluation of various alternatives available. The selection of the best alternatives will be made only when pros and cons of all of them are discussed and evaluated. If you know the pros and cons selecting one, then only you will decide best one by evaluating the pros and cons only. Decision making is the end product because it is preceded by discussions and deliberations. Thorough discussions and deliberations are made to reach ultimate selection. Right? Decision making is used to achieve organizational goals. It also involves certain commitment. Management is committed to every decision it takes. Now we will see decision making in groups. To understand the necessity of decision making in groups, okay, we need to distinguish between two types of decision making process. One is programmed decisions and the another is non-programmed decisions. Programmed decisions are of a routine nature and are taken within the specified procedure. These decisions have short term effects and are taken at lower level management. The decisions to grant leave, make routine purchases, allow trade discounts are called as programmed decisions. Non-programmed decisions, non-repetitive decisions are on the other hand non-programmed decisions. The need for non-programmed decisions arise due to specific circumstances. These decisions are taken at top level management. Generally, non-programmed decisions are taken by the top level management. The opening of a new branch, introducing new product, purchase of new machinery are a few examples for the non-programmed decisions. Right? Sometimes some situation arise consist of problems which are unlikely to be solved by the single individuals. Under those circumstances, okay, when problem involved is complex and problem solving requires varied skills, knowledge, okay, varied skills and knowledge base, expertise and experience, the manager may assign the responsibility to a group of experts to look at the problem objectively and to come up with the recommendations. Group decision making requires greater time and interpersonal skills among the recommendations. Okay, among the group members in order to obtain the ideal, okay, or ideas of all the group members and discuss them in a particular way. The group decisions would become particularly important for non-programmed decisions because these decisions are complex and few individuals have all the knowledge, okay, and skills necessary to make best decisions. Is often argued that groups can make higher quality decisions than individuals, right? And now we see why group decisions are more qualitative. Okay, we need to evaluate that why group decisions are more qualitative than quantitative, right? According to Gary John, there are three basic assumptions which, okay, form the basis for the, okay, to say group decisions are more qualitative, okay, than individual decisions. One assumption is more vigilant. Groups are assumed to be more vigilant than individuals. When an individual looks at a particular problem, because of natural constraints, he cannot look at all possible angles of a complex problem and he may miss an important aspect of the issue. Okay, the one good example for this, if you write something, you don't find mistakes in your draft. But when it is shown to someone, certainly they'll point out your mistakes. Right? The same applies here. Because of natural constraints, we cannot look at all possible angles of complex problem and we may miss an important aspect of the issue. But in a group, there are a number of, okay, members looking at the same problem. Thus, it is most likely that any one or other person will look at or think about that important aspect of the issue, that it is easily traced by one or other. Right? That's why group members are more vigilant than individuals. Right? And another assumption is more ideas, more alternative solutions. Okay. There are many people are involved. Groups can generate more ideas and develop more alternative solutions than individuals. As the groups consist of members from different backgrounds, experience, outlooks, and cultures and regions, it is more likely that someone or the other will come up with the idea that the others have not thought before. Right? Further, new ideas can also be developed on the basis of the information given by all the members, which will definitely be better than any idea conceived by a single individual. Right? And third is better evaluation of ideas. Because of the different and various viewpoints expressed by the members of the group, there can be better evaluation of the ideas by the group. Individual decisions can sometimes be biased and based on emotional aspects also. But when ideas are evaluated by the group, more objectivity is introduced and decisions will be based on facts and rationality rather than on emotions. Right, now we'll see steps in decision making process. We see the decision making process. A decision cannot be taken in isolation. Okay, it is influenced by the past experience, present conditions, and future expectations. Once a decision is taken, then it becomes difficult to reverse it. If you can't go to the original position once you have taken a decision, right? It is not an easy task to reverse, right? It is pertinent to discuss the problem involved and then take a decision after considering various possibilities. Decision making involves, okay, a few steps which we are going to discuss here. Okay, the one is defining the problem. The first step in decision making is to find out the correct problem. Okay, correct problem. What does it mean, correct problem? Okay, all the problems, okay, which are in the organization may not be drag the same attention by the organization. They may not have equal influence on the issue. That's why the first step in decision making is to find out the correct problem, which is the severe problem and that need to be addressed. It is not only easy to define the problem. It should be seen what is causing the problem and what will be its possible solutions. No problem presents itself in a manner that an immediate decision is taken. If the problem is not correctly defined, then the efforts and money spent on a wrong decision will go waste. Moreover, a wrong problem may create fresh difficulties instead of solving them. Okay, that's why we need to identify the correct problem. We need to define the correct problem. Okay, no problem present itself a manner that the immediate decision is taken. If the problem is not correctly defined, then efforts and money spent on wrong decision will go waste. All the efforts made by the management become futile. Okay, a wrong problem may create new difficulties also instead of solving them. And before defining the problem, the manager has to identify critical or strategic factors of the problem. What are the critical and strategic problems? Chester Bernard has pointed out that the theory of strategic factor is necessary for the appreciation of the process of decision making. Right? He emphasizes that in decision making, the analysis required is actually a search for the strategic factors. These factors may be the root cause of obstacles in developing proper solution to the problem under discussion. If we wish to increase the yield of grain in a certain field, on analysis it may be found there is lack of potash. Following, potash is a small mineral that is required for plants to grow. If we wish to increase the yield of grain in the certain field, okay, on the analysis we may found that there is a lack of potash. The potash will be a strategic or limiting factor in this case. You can easily understand if you take this problem. Once the problem is properly defined, then it will be easily solved. In the same what we have discussed so far, the case. Okay, first we need to root cause. Okay, find the root cause of developing, okay, the solution for that. So the first important factor is determination of the problem. This is what we call it as defining the problem. Then second is analysis of the problem. Second step in decision making. After defining the problem, the manager should analyze it. He should collect all possible information about the problem and then decide whether it will be sufficient to take a decision or not. Okay, what you need to do? You need to analyze the problem. Okay, and you should collect all possible information about the problem. Then decide whether it will be sufficient to take a decision or not. Okay, the information gathered by you, whether it's sufficient or not. Generally, the manager complains that they seldom get sufficient information which they would have liked to have. Under rare, what does it mean seldom means? Under rare circumstances, that manager get sufficient information, they complain. Sometimes it may be costly to have additional information or further information. May not be possible also, he says that. In the words of Peter Drucker, to make a sound decision, it is not necessary to have all the facts. That is true what he says. Okay, we need not gather all the facts, but it is necessary to know what information is lacking in order to judge how much of risk the decision involves. The rightly said Peter Drucker. Okay, you need not collect all the facts in order to make appropriate decision, but you must know what information is lacking in order to judge how much risk the decision involves, as well as the degree of precision and rigidity that the proposed course of action can afford. Whatever information is available should be used to analyze the problem. If there are deficiencies in information, then manager must judge the degree of risk involved in the decision. Right? And third is course of action. Okay. Every problem, third step we call it as, every problem has a number of solutions. If there is only one solution, then there is no need for decision making. A manager must try to find out various alternatives. Okay, you never stick with one alternative. You will always, okay, try to search out different alternatives. In order to get satisfactory results of a decision, he will do that. Unless manager develops several alternative solutions, he is only too prone to is only prone to fall into the either or kind of thinking. Having more solutions or alternatives is not a guarantee against wrong decision. If you have many alternatives, that will not guarantee against a wrong solution. You may find wrong solution also sometimes because of lot of exist. It should be kept in mind that alternative solutions are no guarantee of wisdom or the right decision, but at least they prevent one making wrong decision. Okay, we should keep it in mind. Alternative solutions are no guarantee of wisdom or the right decision, but at least they prevent one making wrong decisions. Right? There are several alternatives even in this crisis situation. For example, the plant of the company needs replacement because its products cannot compete with others, with those of others. The choice before management may be to go for a new plant, can rent new premises, consolidate this plant with another plant at other premises, could become the distributor of similar products of the other firms. The management has to evaluate various alternative proposals and then take a decision. Unless otherwise, all possible alternatives are developed, a solution may not be good. Right? And now we'll discuss the fourth step, evaluation of alternatives. After developing various alternatives, the next step is to evaluate them and select the right one. The pros and cons of different proposals should be foreseen. The desirable and undesirable consequences of adopting each consequence should be tested. This exercise will enable the manager to seek the risk involved in each course of action. The alternatives should be evaluated in relation to time and money involved in them. Okay, because the resources are, time is precious and our money is also. Okay, we are not in a position to get them very easily, and they are not, we don't have any such resources easily disposable at our end. Only the alternative which gives maximum economy should be selected. A decision becomes easy when one alternative has more favorable consequences as compared to others. Right? When more than one alternative has similar good points, then it becomes difficult to make a choice. In such cases, two or more alternatives can be combined. There may be a situation where none of the alternatives present favorable situation. Not accepting any alternative is also an important decision. The manager should develop new alternatives in such situation. Right? And another step is experience the often repeated proverb like history repeats itself. Okay. What does this mean, experience? The often repeated proverb like history repeats itself. Okay, history repeats again. Our experience is the best teacher. Provide help in decision making. If you were exposed to similar conditions, then the way you respond will be different. The past experience acts as a guide. The difficulties faced and problems encountered earlier can be well judged and corrective measures can be taken in advance. The past experience should be blindly be relied upon. In case the situation in the past and at present are similar, then earlier alternatives may be selected. But there may be a change in the situation and the old decision may not hold good in future. Hence, the decision should not be the same while relying on experience. The conditions prevailing in the past, at present, and the possible effects in future should be properly considered before making a decision. The experience is an asset with a manager, but it should not be blindly relied upon, right? And experimentation. Experimentation is the sixth step. Experimentation is used in scientific inquiry. The alternatives are put to actual practice and one giving better results is selected. Okay, experimentation is the scientific inquiry. The alternatives are put to actual practice and we must assess which one is good, giving good results. Experimentation, however, is not possible in management. It will be costly to put every alternative to practice. However, it may be used in limited way. For example, when a new product is put in the market, it can be marketed in a limited area to see the reaction of consumers. If the management wants to use a new organizational setup, then it may be first applied in a branch before being used in the whole business. It will always be better to take decisions on the basis of facts, study, analysis of results, and so on. And the last step is taking decision and follow up. When various alternatives are properly evaluated, then a final decision is taken. The decision is communicated to the concerned persons for action. The implementation of a decision will require the cooperation of subordinates. They should be properly briefed about various aspects of decision. It is not enough to take a decision. It should also be seen whether it is properly implemented or not. If you have taken a good decision, but it is not implemented well, what is the use of it? the effort made by you in selecting the decision becomes futile. The follow-up action of a decision may show that it was based on certain wrong premises of facts. In such situation, the decision should be reviewed and necessary if change may be required. Changes may be required. To follow up is also an important aspect of decision making. Right? Now we'll see advantages of group decision making. Groups are generally considered to be more effective as compared to single individuals. Some of the advantages are inherent in group decision making. Okay, what are those? We'll see now. Greater knowledge base. Having greater knowledge base is a let's say great advantage. Groups tend to have great knowledge base. Since these involve more than one person, two heads are always considered better than one. Because diverse thinking of people will help to approach a better decision. All the members of the group have their own specialties, and they contribute lots of information and knowledge to the knowledge base of the group. Thus, the decisions where knowledge is of paramount importance can be effectively taken only at group levels, right? And second one, advantage is greater number of alternatives. More the amount of knowledge and information, greater will be the number of alternatives available for solution of a problem. Following, greater number of alternatives of more perspective on a problem as compared to the narrow vision of a single perspective. And another advantage is effective implementation of decision. The implementation of decisions will be more effective as the people who are going to implement the decisions are the people who also participated in the decision making. Right? People who are more committed to the implementation of the decisions which they themselves have participated in making. In such a case, acceptance of the decision will also be more, which is very important consideration, because a decision which has more acceptance will be more effective. Right? And another advantage is elimination of personal biases. As a number of people are involved in decision making, the biases that are introduced due to individual decision making are eliminated. The decisions become more reliable and dependable as compared to individual decisions. Right? And another advantage is participative decisions. Group decisions making increase participation of members in decision making. Although the participation does not necessarily mean a high quality decision, it increases members satisfy the subordinates develop the skill of objective analysis of the information and deriving of conclusions. Another advantage is better understanding of final decision. The comprehension of final outcome is high as all the members are involved in decision making and implementation. There is better understanding of final decision. Democratic in nature. Group decisions are considered to be more democratic in nature as compared to individual decisions which are more autocratic in nature. Democratic decisions are more easily accepted and go well with the democratic ideas of the society. Right? In spite of all these advantages, a few disadvantages also there. They are more time consuming, right? And social pressure. We will discuss what is more time consuming. Groups are generally slower to reach decisions than are individuals acting alone. A lot of time is consumed in terms of assembling the group, and then the group takes a lot of time in reaching the consensus. The time problem further increases with the increase in the size of the group. Social pressure is another disadvantage. Most of the times the participative decision making is not in reality so participative. Some of the members do not actually participate but simply agree with the others for the sake of agreement, since there are social pressure to conform. Everybody wants to be a good member and to go along with the group can lead people to conform prematurely to poor decisions. Sometimes the social pressures are so strong and they induce people to change their attitudes, perceptions, and behaviors. Right? Another disadvantage is interpersonal conflicts. Sometimes the group members have uh, their own personal interests to protect. These personal and self centered interests lead to personality clashes that may create interpersonal conflicts. Such conflicts can diminish the efficiency as well as the quality of decision making process. Right? And another disadvantage is group goals. Okay, group goals is another disadvantage. Group goals versus organization. Sometimes the decisions made by the group are not in accord with the goals and objectives of the organization. This will cause a conflict in group goals and organizational goals, which can be very detrimental to the organizational benefits. Okay, and another is dominance. Disadvantage is dominance. Group decisions are not always democratic. A dominant individual may emerge and control the group decisions. The viewpoint of the dominant leader may dominate the group discussion, and in such a case there will not be much difference between the individual decisions and group decision, right? And focus effect. Another drawback of group decision is the focus point. This means that the group will focus on one of few suggested alternatives and spend all the time in evaluating these. In such cases, the choices will be limited and other new ideas will never come up, right? And seventh, inclination towards initial decisions. Groups are generally inclined to stress more and more on their initial decisions simply to justify having made these in the first place. The first solution arrived at by consensus is general. The final solution, even if it is not the optimum solution, once a comparison is reached, however, even a high quality alternative will have little, or we can say no chance of serious consideration. And another disadvantage is group thinking. Group think means that the more friendly, cooperative members of a group, the greater the likelihood that independent critical thinking and objective moral judgment will be suspended in difference to group norms and in observance of group cohesiveness. All the cohesive groups do not have group think characteristics, but those who do have will have to face a number of unfavorable consequences. Right? It should be avoided as much as possible, otherwise poor quality decisions will be reached. Okay, and with this we stop, and in next class we'll discuss techniques of group decision making. Right? Thank you.